Okay, it is 6:30. I'd like to call this meeting to order and acknowledge that the City of Winkler is situated on Treaty 1 land, the home of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties that have been made on these territories, but acknowledge that there have been harms and mistakes in the past, dedicating ourselves today to a future based on respect of all peoples, including Indigenous communities, in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration, moving forward to a harmonious and prosperous future together. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular council meeting of April 8th, 2025 be adopted. Mover?
Andrew.
Marvin.
Thank you. You will note that Councillor Don Friesen is not in chambers, but he is joining us digitally. Good evening, Don.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. The agenda's in front of you. Any changes to what's there?
Nope.
All in favor?
Yay.
Carried. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting of March 25th, 2025 be adopted. Mover?
Ryan.
Ryan got it. Andrew got the second. Any comments on what you see?
Nope.
No.
All in favor?
Yay.
Carried. That takes us to finance. Be it resolved that accounts payable in the amount of $938,739.49 as approved by the Finance Committee be approved for payment. Mover?
Andrew.
Peter got it. Andrew got the second again. Check register is attached. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Yes.
Carried. Be it resolved that the attached utility arrears be added to their respective tax rolls. Mover?
Andrew.
Second.
Ryan.
As you note there, this is a normal amount at this time of year for utilities added to taxes. Any additional questions on what you see there? All in favor?
Yay.
Carried. Be it resolved that the fire report for March 2025 be received for information. Mover?
Michael.
Second.
Ryan.
Report is attached. Anything we should pay particular attention to?
Another steady month for the men and women there. And we appreciate them answering the calls.
Absolutely, we do. It's trend consistent with the first 2 months of the year in March that we're up a little bit. Okay. All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the Pembina Valley Water Co-op minutes for the March 21st, 2025 meeting be received for information. Mover?
Marvin.
Second?
Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. Any comments?
Yes, if I may.
Please.
First of all, thanks to Mayor Siemens and City Manager Jody Penner for coming to the AGM. I think that's very important, was very much appreciated. It's very important. Water is a very important commodity for us. That's
Absolutely.
And now a couple of things. The CEO report, they completed the servicing agreement, which was a big ask for all the municipalities, but it's an important one for securing safe water and hopefully down the road being able to have a little bit more of a drought-proofing situation. Some of the things that align very well with what we believe is the CEO had a report, and both the Office of the Drinking Water and the CIBC, which is the lender, were talking about the importance of recruiting good people, keeping them and developing them. And so that is something that is that was noted, as I said, by the CABC, the lender. They were impressed by how Pembina Valley Water Co-op does this, as well as the Office of the Drinking Water, because they are very concerned about, well, the Office of the Drinking Water for sure, about the quality of the water. They're working on policies, continue to work on policies work on a capital reserve idea. And as I said, water supply, and also a little bit more about officers' election at times and so on. The Office of the Drinking Water, Sasha Jansen, was very pleased with the positive relationship that they have with the Pembina Valley Water Co-op. They made a comment about they appreciated that they were forward-thinking with the whole initiative of continuing to ensure a good, safe supply of water, and then also their emphasis on professional growth and training. So I thought a lot of these things fit in well with what we've talked about, the City Winkler model, in terms of hiring good people and training them and keeping them and making sure that they're able to be successful.
Excellent. Thank you, Marvin. Any questions or comments on the report or Marvin's comments?
Nope.
All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the City of Winkler Council hereby authorizes Manitoba Hydro to make the following changes to the street lighting system in the City of Winkler on Pembina Avenue. Install 31 90-watt LED street lights on Pembina Avenue in the City of Winkler, billed at $10.04 each per month. Install one 90-watt LED street light on Pembina Avenue in the City of Winkler, billed at $16.24 per month, increasing our annual street light costs by $3,929.76 per year. Mover.
Marvin?
Second.
Peter.
Okay, you see the notes there, Jody, but
What's
maybe
going on
if you
here?
don't mind just filling in the details.
That's a lot of lights.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that was.
We could have added some of those to Pembina East.
What's that?
Could have added some of those to Pembina East instead of having
Well, there
three
may be a
lights.
plan for that too. My understanding from talking to Tim Weeb from Engineering Services was that this was planned for some time to fill in gaps.
From First Street
Yeah,
to Iceberg, and then of course that one light at the corner of Pembina and Creekside.
that's right.
There's a few that have like 3 lights in between.
Yeah.
2 right now, though.
But we can, what's that?
Some of these stretches have 3 lights in between 2 of the existing ones.
Yeah, if you would prefer to hold off and get more information, I don't have a whole lot more right now. So
Okay.
that would be up to you.
And are they putting in new bollards, new stands? New
That was
posts
my
for everything?
understanding.
That's a lot of,
To me, it just seems like an awful lot of lights along there.
It is a stretch of road that is dark at times, but I think based on what I'm seeing here,
even one in between would be plenty though, no?
I wonder if we pause this until the next meeting, we get the additional information we'd like to have.
Sure.
So that we can confidently say yay or nay.
But a lot of these, if you see the existing ones, they're only one per block, right at the street corner.
Yep.
That's like nothing. And you got probably up to 300 feet to 400 feet between lights, depending on the width of the block.
Certainly there is a gap, and the map shows where the existing ones are and where the additions are. But I am hearing from council that we'd like to hear a little bit more. Am I hearing that correctly?
I mean, this is their expert opinion, I guess, but where, like, this would be very concentrated compared to anywhere else in our city, no?
How about we give our
Yeah,
staff an
I
opportunity?
think I need to
Give our staff an
do some
opportunity to
further
review
digging on that.
And then present
Yeah.
a detailed
I guess
analysis.
the other question I would have is, are these different types of lights that stretch further, closer to the road?
There's one more question that we're going to get answers for.
Because, but otherwise, I'm in favor of more lights for sure.
Yeah.
But if you want more details, that's,
Yep. And I think it's important that we are confident in the decisions we make and that we have the information needed to make those
100%.
decisions. Okay, I'll accept a motion to defer this to the next council
I'll
meeting.
move.
Okay, thank you,
defer.
Andrew.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? And
Yay.
that is carried. Thank you, Don. Be it resolved that the minutes for the Transportation and Utilities Committee meeting of February 25th, 2025 be adopted. Mover?
Marvin?
Second.
Ryan.
Minutes and the in-camera piece is attached. Questions or comments?
I don't know if I can highlight maybe one or two of the things in there.
Please.
For the public, due to a number of things that are related to safety. Back on Pembina on 15th, the idea is to put a three-way stop in there. It's a dangerous intersection for pedestrians and also for cars. I know as a member of the fire department, we respond to more than, I think, an average number of calls in that corner, so that should help that. And talking about safety, the idea is to reduce the speed limit on Eastview Drive from 70 to 60 kilometers an hour because of a number of things. There's more and more traffic going down that lane. There's some fairly steep ditches that are there. New developments coming up south of the tracks for sure, and a pedestrian crosswalk and a pedestrian crossing. So the studies that were done indicate that the traffic at 70 would be too dangerous. And just we were updated for the great work that the city did. We had a sewer block in the industrial area and a water line break earlier on in winter. And it was probably the coldest day of this winter, and how our people worked to figure that out and did such a good job fixing that up. We also were working on a leak that one of the water tanks has and working on repairing that. And happy to report at that time that all our three major projects are going well, progressing well, and on schedule and on budget up to that point. So again, thanks to the great city staff working to make sure all that happens and working with the contractors.
Excellent, thank you. Not seeing anything else, all in favor?
Eight.
Carried.
Direct all speed limit questions to Marvin is what I hear.
Be it resolved that the following amendments be made to the Schedule A of the Traffic and Parking Bylaw number 2283-22. Mover?
Michael.
Second.
John?
And this is, in fact, that speed reduction on Eastview Drive.
Correct.
All in favor?
Eight.
Carried. Be it resolved that Terry Fraze, Public Works Supervisor, be appointed as the weed inspector for the City of Winkler for 2025. Mover.
Peter.
Second.
Ryan.
As you'll see in your notes, previously this was a different member of our staff, but Terry is in the process of obtaining his integrated pest management certification along with pesticide core and landscape golf course certificates, which is a mouthful, I will say. And obviously it makes some sense with that expertise that maybe he take that role.
All right.
All in favor?
Eight.
Carried. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2344-25, the vehicle for hire bylaw amendment, be given second reading. Mover.
John?
Second.
Ryan.
And this is that amendment to add the in-vehicle camera regulations, which we discussed and supported at the March 11th Planning Committee meeting. All in favor?
Eight.
Carried. Be it resolved that bylaw 2344-25, the vehicle for hire bylaw amendment, be given third and final reading. Mover?
Ryan.
Second.
Peter.
Final comments? All in favor?
Eight.
Carried. Be it resolved that the Community Futures Heartland minutes for the March 20th, 2025 meeting be received for information. Mover?
Ryan.
Second.
Michael.
Thank you for helping, Michael. Ryan, that was your first meeting?
That was my first meeting there, so it was a good time to be integrated into the group there. We had a nice tour of the MITT space that's coming up in the old hospital in Morden there. Plus, we had a tour of the space in the basement there where they have a workshop, a community workshop that people can come into and use a lot of the tools and different things there. So Community Futures Heartland had supported that, and a number of the tools that were in there, Community Futures had donated, they'd gotten a grant for that, and they had donated that. So the space, the MITT space, that's where the IT administrator program is going to be happening. And so, yeah, it was good to see that some of that training is coming to the area, and certainly the effort that MCDC and Community Futures have put into getting that all together there. So,
Excellent.
you bet.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Jay?
Carried. For this next item, I'd like to declare an interest, not in this specifically, but in my day job. I own a sign company, and signage is referenced in this bylaw. So I'd like to turn the chair over to Andrew and step out of the meeting.
Fair enough. Thanks, Henry. Have to wait for him to leave the room. Be it resolved that bylaw 2341-25 zoning bylaw amendment be given first reading. Mover?
Marvin?
Seconder?
Brian.
Okay. Do you want me to walk this through, Jody, or you want to make some comments?
Well, what comments I would have is that we tried to give you a version there that had a lot of notes. Sorry, there's lots of notes, but we wanted you to understand where these changes were discussed and supported, so that, because I know it can be a lot to look through. So we had staff go through and just make notes referencing which planning committee meetings these items were discussed and supported. And then aside from that, there's a few corrections that were either clerical errors or just a little bit of reformatting, updating section numbers, and so on.
Yeah, so a few additions, a number of deletions from this bylaw, and then a few clarifications.
Yeah.
Any questions from anybody on these changes?
Appreciate the comments about them. That's very helpful.
Yeah, it's obviously a lot of work to put all that in, but I appreciated that.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, hearing no further feedback. All in favor?
Jay?
And that is carried. Guess we bring Henry back in.
Okay, minutes should show that I've rejoined the meeting. Moving to item 11.3, be it resolved that bylaw number 2347-25 be given first reading, and that is a bylaw to rezone 1219 Mountain Avenue. Mover.
On?
Second.
Michael.
Again, this starts the process so we can go about formally doing it. Unless anybody has any immediate burning questions, all in favor?
Jay?
Carried. Be it resolved that the Winkler Arts and Culture Report for March 2025 be received for information. Mover?
Don?
Second?
Peter. Go ahead.
Peter got it. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Jay?
Carried. Be it resolved that the Morden Veterinary Services District Board meeting minutes for the March 17th, 2025 meeting be received for information. Mover?
Michael?
Second.
I can help.
Thank you, Marvin. Michael, anything new and exciting there we should be aware of?
The big one there was just the additional discussion regarding the roof and the reality that it may be a bigger fix than anticipated. And so they're making sure they have everything lined up so they know what hoops they have to jump through before proceeding with the financing, the permitting, anything else.
Excellent, thank you. Not seeing questions, all in favor? Carried. We'll move then into delegations and public hearings. Be it resolved that this regular meeting of council recess for the purpose of holding public hearings. Mover?
Ryan?
Ryan got it. Andrew got the second. All in favor? Carried. Firstly, we will have a public hearing for conditional use number CU 2025-002 for 279 Royal Crescent. Jody.
Yes, this is a conditional use application. Applicant is Thiessen Properties on behalf of owner Harvey Thiessen. As mentioned, 279 Royal Crescent. Zoning here is R3. The request is here in order to operate a childcare service as an accessory use, which is a conditional use in the R3 zone. Our office have not received objections to this application. There are some supporting documents there that give you some idea of operations. Aside from that, staff don't see any issues and recommend approval.
Thank you, Jody. Is there anybody here wishing to speak to this or to answer questions, I guess, if they are? Okay. Alvin Thiessen is in chambers. If we have questions of him, he's prepared to answer.
I do not.
I don't see anything here. Is there anybody in chambers wishing to speak in opposition? Does council have any questions that they would like to ask of Alvin? Everything looks fairly straightforward, fairly clean. We have our staff recommendation. On that note, be it resolved that public hearing for conditional use application number CU 2025-002 be closed. Mover?
Peter.
Second.
Ryan?
All in favor? Carried. That then takes us to be it resolved that council approve conditional use number CU 2025-002. Mover?
Marvin?
Marvin got it. Ryan got the second. Final questions or thoughts?
A few more daycare spaces is going to be welcomed by many in the community. I'm sure that wait list will fill up fast.
And the plan looks good.
Yeah.
So, all in favor? Carried. Thank you, Alvin.
Yep, thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Be it resolved that public hearings be adjourned and regular council reconvene. Mover?
Ryan?
Second.
Michael?
All in favor? And that is carried. I'll ask then if we have any questions from the media or public relevant to this meeting of council. Not just yet. Be it resolved that this regular meeting of council be adjourned. Mover?
Peter.
Peter. Ryan got the second. All in favor?